Welcome back to Interjections. We're here to talk about Inter conceding their first Champions League goal of the season, losing their first Champions League match of the season. We'll tell you what went wrong, and Miko will tell you why everything's going to be okay. I'm your host, Andrew. Miko, Irfan, and Jay with me. Miko, how are you feeling?
That was a good summary already before we started talking. Yeah, not too happy with the loss, but it is what it is. Uh, I'm ready to I'm ready to fight over this. So let's go.
In the other corner, Jay, I'm sure you're here to tell us why the season's over.
That was a disaster of epic proportions. Also, just want to give a shout out my boy. They got the wrong guy. Free my boy. Free my boy Louis Mancini, whatever that guy's name is. Yeah.
No comment. Irfan, hello.
Hey, yeah, I don't know where you go from that, but I think I'd maybe rather discuss Inter's performance than get into it about Mr. Louis. But yeah, let's get into it because a lot to say about what happened.
Fun fact on a personal note, my grandfather is actually named Luigi, and his brother is named Mario. Italians in the 50s, people.
Amazing.
There you go.
Well, that game was a disaster. I think you have to start with the lineup decisions. It was surprising when Inzaghi decided to roll out this mishmash. I don't want to say it was a B team, but players from the B team for such a tough fixture away to Leverkusen. I wasn't expecting Taremi to start this game. I wasn't expecting Frattesi to start this game. I wasn't expecting Augusto to start this game. But we went less than full strength. And we talked about this on the previous episode, but when you have so much time between this match and the Lazio match, it didn't make sense to rest on your laurels and to use such heavy rotation. So we went with a heavy rotation, and from the third minute in, we were dominated. Leverkusen hit a post, like I said, 3 minutes in, and controlled the game. We didn't have a shot on goal the entire match. We didn't have chances the entire match. We were pegged back. We were sitting deep in our zone, and we were content for a draw. And we thought we were going to get there. When you go 88 minutes without conceding, you're hoping you can get the job done, get across that finish line. But then we have a bit of a collapse off a corner at the end of the match, and that's that. And I don't know. Inzaghi tried to right the ship during the match. He put on the big guys. He put on Barella and DeMarco. DeMarco was actually his first sub off the bench pretty early in the match, trying to stem the tide. He saw things were not going well. It wasn't enough. This is a bad loss in the grand scheme of things, because if you look at the Champions League table now, we still control our own destiny, but it's not nearly as comfortable as it was before this match. That 1 point would have made a big difference. And honestly, if we would have gotten that draw, my tenor would be a lot more upbeat considering how heavily we rotated. But instead, you're left with a performance that was a dud. Poor performances from your attackers again, mainly looking at Taremi and Lautaro. So once again, we control our own destiny. I'm not panicking, but it was just a really disappointing performance. When you have Italian champion, German champion, you're looking for a showcase match. You're looking for us to show our worth, and we lay an egg and don't get a shot on goal. So Miko, what do you think of Inzaghi's lineup decisions to start the match? Were you surprised, and do you think those decisions are ultimately what cost us here?
I wouldn't say I was surprised because we've seen this. I think almost in every match this season in Champions League. There's Taremi starting. He's been starting every match. I don't know about Frattesi. Has he started most of the matches? Maybe not. But I think it was due that he is going to get his shot, which is usually not optimal, as we saw. And then, well, defense line, there wasn't much options because Dumfries was out. he had flu, and then the other injuries. What was the other one? Yeah, Zielinski. Well, he should start. I mean, it doesn't matter to me. Is it Mkhitaryan or Zielinski at this point? Augusto Di Marco. Maybe that was that's there's maybe the biggest difference between a starter and the bench guy, because Augusto wasn't good. He was almost like bad in this match. So that's what I that's it. That's why it seemed logical to sub him out early. Of course, he had the yellow as well. It was kind of a joke of a yellow, but anyway, Inzaghi does his thing, so he takes the guy out who has the yellow. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe Fratters is starting. That was a bit of a surprise, because it put us in a spot where we really couldn't control anything in this match. And yeah, I would say, to your second question, I would say that maybe that was the reason why we couldn't play better, was that there was this second lineup on the pitch from the start. We could always question, okay, Lautaro, Barella, Di Marco, they came in later, so why nothing happened at that point anymore? I don't know, maybe the rest of the team was pretty tired. At least Bastoni looked completely done in this match when the game went on, or at the later stages. And then of course Çalhanoğlu was taken out, so it was like not the first lineup playing at any point in this match. So yeah, I would say that inability to control the match was because we had the players we had there playing, and that to me that played the main role there, why it went like it went. Of course, I want to give credit to Leverkusen. They can play the ball. They can play like short passes. They can trap the ball easily, and they know the players know how to move, when to move. So it kind of forced us to play like really with a low block, and not in a way we usually play in in Serie A. But yeah, the starting lineup was wouldn't say it was a surprise, but I think it played a part in that, how we performed.
Yeah, excellent points, Miko. And I don't understand why Augusto got a yellow card. Khan also picked up a yellow card, whereas like, what did you do to deserve this? And that impacted the substitution patterns in the match. But I don't even know if that matters, to be honest, because Leverkusen came out so hot. We had no answers for Wirtz all game. I think he's the one who hit the post in the 3rd minute. And then he just was giving Pasek problems all night. Jay, I'm sure you have a lot to say on the negative side of things. So how would you summarize the performance?
I'd like to take a moment to disagree with everything both of you just said. I don't think the lineup was a problem at all. In fact, I don't think Leverkusen were particularly good at all either. I thought the entire game was farcical. I thought the entire game was a non-event from both sides. I felt both sides were putting in look, if Leverkusen put in a 4 out of 10 effort, then we put in about a 1 out of 10 for a combined effort of 5 out of 10. And that's, for me, the most annoying thing. The fact that it was an absolute snooze fest, and the fact that we just chose not to play any football. You're right in saying that Leverkusen came out hot. It was Teller that hit the post. But by and large, we didn't suffer in this game. We slept. That goal came from one rather minor fuck up or spill in the box. Other than that, let's be real, it's not like Leverkusen were carving us apart at will, winning set pieces and peppering Sommer's goal with shots. They weren't. And it's not like me to just, I don't like this thing of like, they didn't win it and we lost it. I don't like this kind of, this really disingenuous way of taking credit away from a team by just saying, we were bad and it's not like they were good, we were bad. In this instance, though, I think it's a bit of both. I think it's the truest that we've seen of that this season, at least where our games are involved. And I felt like we actually contained them pretty well, despite playing out a complete B-side with Fratesi and fucking Taremi and Augusto and players like this. Despite that, we kept them more or less on the wraps. And I'm very, very disappointed that despite essentially tying them up for an hour and reducing them to a rather docile threat level for an hour, we then chose not to go on the ascendancy and take the game. We chose to just ride it out by doing nothing. I think a lot of aspects of the game really show some deficiencies, kind of inbuilt deficiencies in the team, the coach, and some of these include, firstly, the complacency, the arrogance was really annoying to watch. Like,
What arrogance? What
like,
arrogance?
how do you go out there and just play a game like that and just expect to get a 0-0? Like, it felt like Inzaghi was trying to preserve this record of everyone's talking up, oh, look, Inter's hasn't conceded a single goal in 5 games. Wow, look at this. It felt like Inzaghi was more keen to preserve that record than to actually win the game. We had something like 5 shots in the entire 90 minutes. As you mentioned, none were on target. But we proved in the first half, when actually, on the rare occasions we actually chose to put the ball together a few times, string some passes together, and make some forward momentum, that we actually looked pretty good. I mean, granted, it didn't result in any super dangerous chances, but there was one instance in particular where, after a series of good passes, we ended up with Bastoni, I believe, crossing the ball to, I think, Bisek, who was wide open in the box. Bisek managed to nod it down for Taremi, who did this kind of like turning shot, this low shot, which kind of went through the defender's legs and out for a goal kick or something like that. But the fact is, we managed to put a ball into the box, win a free header inside the box, and make a controlled pass from that header to the striker, who then managed to get a shot off. And all this was done with really with ease, with minimal resistance, and it felt like a warning shot by us to Leverkusen, that if we step on the gas and if we play with a higher intensity and with more purpose, then we can easily get through their defense to actually make some real chances of legitimate meaning. But again, it just felt like we chose not to. We just decided we would gladly take the 0-0. Again, a defensive position like that, a mindset like that, I can accept if you've grabbed the 1-0, if you're leading 1-0, or if you're looking to snatch a goal on the break, but it didn't even seem like we were looking to do that. There was a 5-minute spell from the 75th or 76th minute to about the 81st minute where the ball was on our right flank and we were in their half. They had all 10 players back. We had all 10 players in their half, and the ball was just going from Zielinski to Barella to Aslani to De Vrij to Barella to Bisek, back to Barella, and so on and so forth. And it just cycled pointlessly for minutes and minutes and minutes before the zenith of that attack was Bisek trying to dribble his man, losing the ball and then fouling the player. And it just was the perfect summation of our entire approach to that game. Zero interest, zero intensity, zero pace, zero purpose, zero cutting edge. It was just very dull, very flavorless, very flat. And to approach any game like that, I think is unacceptable. To approach a game of this importance like that makes it doubly so. Andrew made a really good point, actually, that this is the champions of Germany against the champions of Italy. And I know that in the heat of the moment, you're not sitting there going, or our players are not sitting there going, oh, I gotta run to defend Serie A's honor or something like that. But there should still be some pride involved there. There should still be a degree of wanting to show that we are a superior team. And I don't feel that hunger was there. I don't have too much to say about individual players, aside from they're all shit. I think Summer was a joke, aside from getting Handanovic a few times. Parata di Laser a couple of times, just rooted to the spot. On the goal, I don't know what the fuck he was doing. That he was already at his near post, probably within arm's reach of his near post, and when that ball spilled, he was already standing, on the left hand side to his near post, and then he kind of preemptively goes down to his left, leaving 90% of the open goal, open, instead of kind of either just standing his ground or preemptively moving to the center of goal, where obviously there's a lot more space. So I don't know what the hell he was thinking, but that was not a great showing from him either. In any instance, sorry, I'll just wrap up by reiterating, regardless of the lineup, what ended up happening was that Dortmund were largely unthreatening, I feel, for the better part of 65 minutes, maybe even 70 minutes. And at no point did we decide to take advantage of containing them with our B-side by, okay, we managed to hold you guys to no threat with our B-side. Now let's put on our A-side and win the game. We didn't have that desire to win the game for whatever reason, and that's the biggest source of frustration. It was a very, very limp, flaccid, non-erect performance.
I agree with you that it's not like we were played off the pitch, but I think Leverkusen were clearly the better, more dangerous side for a larger portion of that match, especially in the first half. They had genuine chances you can point to that were almost goals in the first half, including Zaka forcing a really great save from Summer. We didn't have anything of the like. There was one instance where Taremi had the ball in the box, really unmarked, could barely get a shot off. There was just a difference in quality the entire night, as far as I'm concerned. And that shows in the lack of shots. We were not dangerous. We were not creating. And like you said, Jay, it was a lot of passing the ball casually around the pitch, not creating a great number of chances. We never found second gear. Irfan, what did you think of the match?
Yeah. So for our American listeners, there's a very famous sports clip which says, you play to win the game. You don't play to just play. And this was like a clear example of a situation where we conceded the match before we took our first kick. I think there's truth to both what Miko said and what Jay said. I mean, I think the lineup did play a role. I don't recall us ever starting, in a serious match at least, ever starting both Fratesi and Zielinski. And I think that was not a good, I don't think that played very well at all in our midfield. And when I saw that lineup and I saw who wasn't in the lineup, I was like, what are we doing here? We're playing away in Germany in a Champions League match, and we're like very obviously conceding this match. And I think what's more confounding is that we don't play again until Monday. We don't play Lazio until Monday. And so I don't really understand the need for such a heavy rotation. I would have rather done it the other way around, which is like, go with our strong lineup, and then if players start to look tired and fatigued, like Bastoni, then you pull them. But the way he started off the match with that lineup, I think we were already, playing with like one hand tied behind our back. It just didn't make a lot of sense. And then the performance itself, it was just, there was nothing brave about it. There was nothing forward about it. Everything was just so, I don't know. It was just like this ridiculous entitlement that you would just go in there and not try to force anything, not try to even generate a shot, and be totally content doing that against a good team. And
Yes.
I think there's like this element of, there is this element of hubris in our Champions League performances that, we have not given up a goal. And I think that we let that kind of get to our head because, we didn't not concede in our matches because we played this way. Like I don't think that that's the reason we haven't conceded. It's not like we were purposely, defending with a low block and showing no willpower going forward, and that's why we've kept all these clean sheets. Like, we've kept clean sheets because we've played our game. If anything, we haven't scored a lot of goals either. So I don't understand the mentality. I don't understand the instruction, and I don't know what Inzaghi was thinking putting that lineup and those tactics out there in this match. I mean, you're playing away to a very good German team that lost, I think, one match all of last year. And yeah, this year they haven't been as good, but it's not like they're, hemorrhaging goals or losing a bunch of matches this year either. I think they're second or third in the league, and they've maybe lost one match in the Champions League and one match in the league. So you're not playing a bad team. And to showcase Inter in that light and to give the team the instructions and to show such little courage was like really, really disheartening, because I don't know, like, are we in this to try to win this, or are we just going through the motions here and trying to survive? Like, this is one of those situations where I think Inzaghi's bad instincts got the better of him. And I think all fans expected a better performance, and we should have gotten it. And like you, Andrew, I'm not panicking. Like, I don't think that, all of a sudden our Champions League qualification is in doubt and this was an utter disaster. More than anything, it was just disheartening. It's disheartening to see a good team like us not even go and take a shot. Like, what are we doing? Like, why did we not even seemingly try to get a result here? I just don't get it. And I think that our Champions League, record so far, the results don't necessarily match the way we've been performing also. Like, the Arsenal match was nothing to like be really proud of. Like, we defended well, but it was a fortuitous match and a fortuitous result as far as I'm concerned. And then, there's been other matches like Young Boys where we were like, wait, what are we doing here? Why are we scraping by with such a win? So I don't think we've been that good particularly. And so I don't know why Inzaghi felt like even if we played to the second or third kind of level of what we were capable of, that would be enough in this match. So I don't like the mentality, and I just don't like how we conceded this before we went into it. That's the way I felt watching it.
I don't fully agree with that. I understand being disheartened, and I'm disheartened as well with this result, because I don't want us to lose or anything like that. But I feel that how would I say it? I feel that for me the lineup was okay. The performance was not okay, but lineup, given what kind of schedule we have, that was like totally okay with me. I don't consider this match being super important. And well, German champion against Italy champion, yeah, that could be a great match. It wasn't, but so what? It's just a one match in the league phase, and I feel that that's what Inzaghi is thinking. And like you, Irfan, said, we haven't been playing really playing great in Champions League, despite the pretty great results in a sense. No goals conceded before this match and so on. But like said, I'm fine. I'm fine with the decision to start this lineup and be ready for the Lazio match, because I think, and I'm giving Inzaghi the benefit of the doubt that he knows better who's best choice for each match. I'm not going to tell him who he should start in each match, because we don't know the energy levels. We don't know what kind of knocks these players have, how much they can play. There's a 6 days difference, but it doesn't mean that they will be fully rested, the ones who played no part in this match or played little. They won't be 100% in the Lazio match anyway. And if they played more, they definitely wouldn't be 100% in the Lazio match. So I'm not going to question Inzaghi's decisions, but I can still say that we didn't play good, the plan went wrong, and so on. But there's like two things which can be true at the same time. Like there's a plan, but it goes wrong. And even if we start with our first guys, we could have still lost. We could have still lost the game, and then we would have possibly risked more in the Lazio match. That's my view. Why I'm not too upset about the starting lineup. Of
So
course,
this
the
is a classic Miko appeal to authority. I'm not
appeal to author.
disagreeing.
Come on, Andrew.
I don't disagree at all.
You can't be
I
like
don't
that. That
disagree at
you
all. I don't disagree at
yeah
all that
yeah
Inzaghi knows the fitness of his players. I don't.
yeah
But when you make 4 or 5 sweeping changes, that's not an individual fitness decision. This is a philosophical approach to a match. When
yeah.
you
But
make
that's
multiple
been
wide
going on.
switches,
That's
spreading
been
it like
going on
this.
for the whole Champions League campaign. Like he prefers to play Mkhitaryan in the Serie A. He prefers to play Taremi in the Champions League, and I don't
Yeah,
know, but
I don't disagree, and that's a philosophical. That's a philosophy. That's not a individual fitness decision. Inzaghi choosing to start Taremi in every Champions League match isn't down to fitness. That's a conscious choice he's making based on, frankly, I don't know what, because Taremi is a non-entity at this point. But once again, I'm not upset about the mass rotation. I just don't think if you're going to mass rotate, you know what you're walking into, which is we cannot score without DeMarco on the pitch and Barella for a lesser extent. So Inzaghi got what he deserved as far as I'm concerned. If you look at our Champions League performances this year, short of a dominant match against Red Star, have we been scoring goals in bunches? No, it's been a lot of tough, tight matches because we just don't have the firepower off the bench in the attack to get the job done this year.
yeah, I agree. And Pisek commented after the match. He was pretty honest there. He commented that maybe we deserved this, or there was like a karma now, maybe referring to Manchester City match where we got the draw despite the big chances City got at the end, and now we kind of weren't so lucky, and they got the goal in the end.
I think Andrew hit it spot on when he said that it's a questionable decision making from the coach, and that I still feel like I said, he's still learning, and I still feel like where he can improve on is just being a bit more brave and being a bit more ambitious. I'm 100% convinced, like a prime Mourinho, a prime, can we say Guardiola's no longer in his prime now that he's getting slapped left, right, and center? But prime Mourinho, prime Conte, etc. I'm sure these guys would have marched out their strongest sides against Leverkusen and Lazio, and then rotated for the fucking Copper match against Udinese on the 20th. Sure, you ask a lot from your players, but big managers who win things are not afraid to ask a lot from their players. They're, in fact, famous for demanding a lot from their players. And sure, everyone's different. Inzaghi might have his own approach, but I just think he can afford to ask a bit more of his players and respect them more a bit in return. And we've talked about like the his tendency to, it's not even a tendency, it's like a compulsion to always sub players on a yellow card because he's like terrified that they might get sent off, and sometimes this happens to the detriment of the game. I would rather risk keeping Thuram or Hakan on the pitch, even if they had a yellow, then take them out and replace them for fucking Arnautovic and Aslani, for example, because I think that's far more detrimental to us than having these two players on a yellow, hypothetically. But you get what I'm saying here. Like Inzaghi's conservatism in some regards, his overcautiousness is, I think, one of the areas that he's still really just coming to grips on. I'm hoping that, having won the league last season, hoping that we can win the league again this season. I'm hoping these things can just give him the kind of confidence he needs to be more brave, to be more demanding, and to be more ambitious in these regards. Again, the lineup, it is what it is, but I really implore you guys just to look at the way the game went, despite the lineup. I don't feel like we were, in desperation. Like when I think of like max desperation, I'm thinking like the last 20 minutes of Barcelona versus Inter in 2010 at the Camp Nou. You know what I mean? That's like defending tooth and nail for your very life. You know what I mean? Blood, sweat, and tears kind of desperation defending. If that's like a 10 out of 10, then we were at like a 4 out of 10 for that entire Leverkusen game. They didn't have our backs against the wall. They weren't like making us run and making us sweat. I was lying back in my chair, half falling asleep watching that shit. And then for them to just score some random ass fucking goal from some dipshit spill in the box, it was just like, what are you fuckers doing? Seriously. They didn't even have us under the pump. And I kind of forgot where I was going, to be honest, but you get my point there. The intensity, the attitude, it's all just lacking. And I find you good.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, Jay. It's not just the lineup, right? Like I know I focused on the lineup, but and to Miko's point, like I think we all respect Inzaghi and we trust him to make decisions, but in hindsight, those decisions can be wrong. And what we saw on the pitch, those decisions can be wrong. And the midfield he put out there with Zielinski and Fratesi, who both performed so poorly, was very clearly in hindsight a mistake, right? Like I'm not saying I've been critical of Mkhitaryan, but I think I've learned a very strong lesson after watching this match about how important he is. And not just how important he is, but like at least one of him or Barella is there. So I think you can rotate and you can save players and still have your foot on the pedal, right? Like I think you can rotate without conceding a match. And when I saw the lineup that he put out there, and not just the lineup, but the way we performed, like clearly what the instructions were in this match, it seemed like we were conceding well before we played. And again, I'm okay tactically going into a match, looking at the fixture list and saying, hey, we're going to get a draw. We're going to aim for a draw. Like, like a budgeted draw is okay in my book. Like that's okay. Like a draw would have been a good result in a way at Leverkusen, right? But especially given where we were in the table in the Champions League. But honestly, if we played the way we played yesterday with the lineup that was out there and the way the players were performing, I would have been disappointed even with the draw. Like the way Andrew was saying that, maybe the tone is a little different if we actually pulled off the draw. Yes, it would have been a little bit better, but honestly, I would have still felt this like ick about our performance because we just performed well below what we're capable of. Well below it. And that was really disappointing to see. And I think there's a lot of factors for it, but I don't think that we can necessarily look the other way and just defer to Inzaghi or defer to the team that they know what they're doing here. I think it was a mistake. And I think the performance was poor. And I think as fans, we should honestly demand better. Like there's good draws and there's bad draws. If we would have gotten a draw yesterday, it would have been a bad draw as far as I'm concerned. And the loss, it was just fitting because like Jay was saying, you play this like shit game the whole match, and then of course you concede in some like horrible, stupid way, and then it just makes the whole match and the whole effort seem like even worse after you concede in like that late goal, concede that late goal. So to me, it's not just it's Inzaghi's decisions, it's the lineup, it's the way we played, it's the tactics, but it's just I don't know. It's so disappointing that like we still have a team that doesn't have the courage to go out there and play a good match against a good opponent. Like, why are we throttling ourselves, guys? Like, I don't get that. Lazio is his boogeyman. Maybe he's really, really afraid of the Lazio match, but like I said, there's 6 days between there. So figure something out, man.
One final thing I'll add to that is, if I mentioned there are good draws and bad draws, I actually think it would have been a fine draw had we drawn because of just in proportion to the amount of effort we gave. Like if we gave like a 1 out of 10 effort to come away with a draw against Leverkusen would have been fine. But to then lose after putting in 1 out of 10 effort just turns it from a kind of acceptable draw to just like an absolutely horrendous loss. And again, it's not because we were beaten post to post. It's not because we were smashed 5-0. It's because we put in 1 out of 10 effort. So it's not only a case of the effort determining the result, but the result can be defined by the effort we put in as well, I think. So yeah, like I said, terrible loss in my opinion. Really, really damaging loss.
Final thing I'm going to say is this wasn't indeed a budgeted draw. This was a budgeted loss because we can afford this loss. But of course, as Andrew mentioned at the start, draw would have made a difference in the standings. Now we were forced to win against Sparta the next match anyway. But after that, if we drew this one, then at 17 points we would have been like very secured to be in the top 8. Now if we get to 16 points, it's not like completely sure at that point yet. So yeah, draw would have been nice, but I'm confident we can do something against Monaco, and we won't lose to them at home. So yeah, performance wasn't good. It was bad. We end up losing, so that's even worse. But in the grand scheme of things, I'm not worried about our top 8 campaign at this point. If we don't win Sparta, then that's a disastrous result. If we don't win them, but we talk about that in January.
Well, let's get into talking about the Lazio match, which is on Monday. Lazio actually have a Europa League game tonight, so I don't even know what's going on there in their Europa League campaign. I don't know if they're trying to win matches. I don't know if they're going to be pulling an Inzaghi and throwing out the reserves or what, but we'll see how that goes, and that will influence what we're getting from them on Monday. I will say Lazio is the team in Serie A I'm most consistently wrong about. Every year I predict these guys to finally fall off. I thought this year was the end of an era. Immobile gone. Milinkovic-Savic has been gone for a couple of years now. And I thought, okay, they didn't really sign anybody that I'm familiar with. I figured this would be the year they finally fall off a cliff. They brought in Verona's manager from last season. Wasn't expecting anything from them, but they've been in scorching hot form. They're playing really well. I don't know how it's pronounced. In America, we call this Castellanos. Their striker leads the team in goals. You all know about Zaccagni. He is second on the team in goals and also is throwing in quite a few assists. Zaccagni is a really talented player. I don't honestly think much of Castellanos as a goal scorer, but he's getting the job done. So anyway, this is not a team I expected a lot from this year, but they're playing great football. Irfan, you nailed it when you said Inzaghi really struggles against Lazio. So what are you expecting in this match?
I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll put our full strength team out there now because they should all be extremely well rested. It's like they just took a nice little vacation in Monaco or something, and they're going to be coming back with fresh legs and full hearts, and ready to show their managers just how good they are, and ready to show all the fans that the team will be redeemed. That's kind of how I feel. I mean, I'm expecting a 5-star performance. And honestly, if we don't smash these guys, I'm going to be pissed. Because as far as I'm concerned, we gave up that Leverkusen match to get a good result against Lazio. And so he better deliver, and the players better deliver and give us a good result. It is their boogeyman team. Like you, Andrew, I always thought that they're not particularly good. And yet, for some reason, they always play us really well, or we play really bad against them, one or the other, or both. So I don't know. Like, I want to just say it's going to be cagey because we like to say that about every match, but I'm not going to say it's going to be cagey. I honestly don't know what to expect, and I'm kind of still irritated after the Leverkusen match. So instead of like actually thinking about it, I'm just going to say I'm expecting a 3-0 win, and we better smash them off the field.
One tiny detail: they have Romagnoli out because of injury, but they have also Castellanos out because of a suspension. So that maybe helps us. I don't know. They have other good players or players in good form, but maybe maybe it gives us some hand there. Those missing
Yeah.
players.
It's time for Lautaro to wake up, though. Like, we need this guy. Like, I'm tired of the excuses. I'm tired. Like, just get your head on straight and start scoring some fucking goals. Like, what is this? Our forwards are so poor, and we can't just be relying on DeMarco or Bastoni or Barella to like be doing everything. Like, let's go. You know, Thuram has carried us as far as I think he can. It's time for Lautaro to step up. I want to see like 2 goals from him. Like, let's go.
You know, I think the notion that we struggle against Lazio is on one hand very true, and I think it's largely coloured by the 2 back-to-back 3-1 losses we had against them in Inzaghi's first and second season. But since then, it's actually kind of evened out a little bit. We drew against them last time around. It was a 1-1 draw at San Siro on match day 37, I believe, when we had already secured the Scudetto.
Yes.
And then prior to that, we won 3 games in a row. We beat them 3-0 in the Supercoppa Italiana. Not that anyone gives a fuck about that. And then we beat them 2-0 away. Prior to that, I mean. And then prior to that, we beat them 3-1 at home. So for a while, there was just like a alternating 3-1 victory to us, 3-1 victory to them, 2-1 to us, 3-1 to them, 3-1 to us. So that was fun while it lasted. But now things look a little bit more even. And I don't think it's out of the question to expect a win here. Sure, Lazio are one of the big sides. Sure, they're overachieving this season. But not only should none of that matter to a team that should be looking to win the title, as Fan very rightfully pointed out, the expectations are mandatory now that we've, or having lost that game at Leverkusen. You can't follow up a game like that without a response. So yeah, let's take full advantage of the fact that they're missing Castellanos. I don't even know who their backup striker is. Pedro? Is it still Pedro Rodriguez?
Yeah, they have the Dia as well, but I don't know. Have they played together? They have played together with Castellanos. Maybe it's Pedro.
I mean, they have some attacking players like Bulay Dia and that guy Noslin. And didn't they buy Chatshua as well? No.
These sound like made up names, man.
They're all.
I don't know
like
about the last
C-grade
one.
attackers from like Verona and Salernitana and stuff. Don't forget, Latito owned Salernitana. So
They probably have more goals than Lautaro, though.
yeah, they do.
Yeah, they've completely turned over their attacks. I can't remember who was in it besides Immobile. What was Pedro still there last year?
Pedro's still there this year.
Yeah.
Zaccagni is still there. They have Isaacson, who has been a complete flop in my opinion, but he did score the winner against Napoli via a fortuitous deflection, but still. So yeah, look, this Lazio, it's a team that tends to fly under the radar unless you're paying close attention or unless they demand your attention. You know, if we're being real about it, the only reason they've demanded anyone's attention in the last 10 years was because of Inzaghi, and now he's ours. So like now that Inzaghi's gone, that kind of genuinely respectable and difficult Lazio team of, you know, got from the back, you know, like Lazzari, Milinkovic-Savic, Luis Alberto, Immobile,
Acerbi.
Yeah, Cherby, Caicedo, don't forget, Joaquin Correa, you know, these kinds of guys like that. That Lazio is done. You know what I mean? So now it's a whole new Lazio, and yeah, as mentioned, they've been finding their feet, and it looks like they have found their feet under Barone, and you know, maybe Barone will do a bit of an Inzaghi himself and kind of establish like a new Lazio era with these guys that he has, but it feels like the first page of that chapter. So I'm yet to read. I'm yet to read up to that point. So I'm not really familiar as well with a lot of these guys. I was surprised they got rid of Cataldi, who's at Fiorentina now. I thought
and no Felipe. No Felipe Anderson, thank God.
Yeah, thank God, yeah.
Jay, are you familiar at all with this Nuno Tavares guy they got from Arsenal?
What, because I'm like a fucking Arsenal and Milan fan or something?
Yeah, exactly. No, it's all seriousness though. Like You pay more
No,
attention to the EPL than most of us. I'm just curious. This guy has 8 assists. He leads the league in assists as their left back. I'm just curious if you've seen him play at all.
I remember the name floating around Arsenal, but I mean, look, Man U, Arsenal, a lot of these teams just tend to go through left backs and not full backs in general. Like you've had all these guys at Man United and Arsenal, like Malacia and Timber and Tomiyasu and Ben White, and it's always difficult for me as somewhat of an outsider to really tell who the fuck is actually the starting player there. I think, realistically, despite Arsenal's recent resurgence, they've had some years of experimentation and trial and error. As of Man United, to say the least. El Crapico on the weekend, Man United versus Man City. It should be a trash game anyway. So yeah, to be honest, I don't know. Tavares was just one of those names floating around for me whenever I was checking up on EPL stuff. So I don't know anything about him. But if he's got 8 assists already, that's pretty impressive for a fullback.
Yeah,
it's extremely impressive for a fullback.
Yeah, my uneducated take will be keep an eye on him against Dumfries or Darmian, whoever starts the match. Feels like that's going to be a key considering this guy's record so far.
Yeah, I would want to have Dumfries back there, and assumably we finally start with the full starting 11 in this match. So
Yeah,
hopefully.
But the thing is, even without these young bucks, I mean, even with these young bucks, the fact that they don't have Inter killers Felipe Anderson and Luis Alberto, I mean, we should stroll through this.
Oh, you mean destroy Inter, but then get bitched by Frank Kessié, Sergej Milinkovic-Savic?
Yes, absolutely.
Probably had
all those players.
0 assists and 0 goals in 40 games against Milan, but about 40 goals and assists in 20 games against Inter. That fucking bitch.
Dude, Lazio against Milan. Remember Cherby laughing? And what was that guy? Who was the guy? Oh my god, who was their center back?
Tonali pushing him on. It was a Cherby. Yes. Tonali pushed the Cherby to get that header. Clear foul. Two-handed push in the back. Maricic.
Yes, Maricic. Jeez, that piece of shit.
He's still there.
Having a go at a Cherby. Maricic is still there. He's like one of their captains now. But look, going through the Lazio side that won at Napoli on the weekend. Yes, Castellanos out for suspension. They had a kind of front line behind the striker of attacking mids or whatever you want to call him. Zaccagni on the left. He's arguably one of the most important players. And you got Boulaye that Isakson retard. Some guy called Deled Bashiru, who's looked pretty good in actually the 2 Lazio games that I've seen. Sideshow Bob, aka Guendouzi. Then you got Tavares, Romagnoli, Gila, the Spanish centre back, Maricic, and then Providel.
About Maricic, did you say he had a go at Acerbi in that match when Milan scored?
Yeah, absolutely. Acerbi was the one who was laughing, and this was like, a big controversy when we signed Acerbi because people say, because Acerbi's a former Milan player, don't forget, and so people say, Acerbi was laughing about the goal, and obviously later on, Acerbi's like, I was laughing in disbelief that they didn't give me the foul, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
because
Maricic was like, I remember after that incident, Maricic went up and put his face right in Acerbi's, got right up in Acerbi's grill, and he was like having a go at Acerbi, probably for like being, I don't know, for failing to defend the ball essentially, but yeah.
I'm sure you remember what happened on the side in that match, because I still remember Maricic was the one. He fucked up. Yeah, he was the one who fucked up and lost the ball there.
He was doing something like trying to he was trying to waste time in the corner, but like he forgot to realize most of the time you waste time in the opponent's corner, not yours. Then he lost the ball, and then which was crossed in, and Tonali beat Acerbi illegitimately. And the rest is history, as they say. But Lazio have, Chalna, that was the one I was thinking of. And they have that old dude, well, not old dude, what am I saying? The flame that never was, Gaetano Castrovilli, who looked like a really decent player for about 4 months at Fiorentina. And then since kind of petered out. But...
Yep.
Wait, Castrovilli is at Lazio?
Yeah.
Oh, didn't even know that. Has he been playing there?
I don't think so. Not very much. Let's not forget Lazio have potentially the greatest Serie A midfielder of last decade, Matthias Vecino.
You can count on a goal from him.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, what the fuck? Did you? I only just realized this. Just saying that like Lazio beat Napoli last week. Did you know they beat them as well 2 days prior to that in the Coppa?
Yeah.
That was 1 week.
Yeah, first Conte had the bench guys in the Coppa, and then the first guys in the league, and they lost both matches.
Oh Jesus!
You know what happens when you give Conte 2 matches in 1 week? It never ends well for anyone involved.
Oh, I'm surprised he didn't resign after the second loss.
Too good.
I don't know why Vecino hasn't played. I know Lazio
What do you mean? What do you mean? Vecino hasn't played. He sucks. That's why he hasn't played.
No, but for Lazio, for Lazio standards, he's all right. But I was shocked to kind of confront that Vecino is already 33, 34. Because he's a fairly youthful looking guy. You know what I mean? Athletes tend to age really badly. Like Figo looked like 55 when he was like 30. You know what I mean?
Borja Valero.
About 40. Yeah, Valero. Yeah,
Snyder
dude looked 40. Snyder's a good example as well. But
Augusto used to look 40. Now he looks like a fresh-faced 21-year-old.
Hey, 40 is young. 40 is young, guys. Come on. What the hell is this? Taking strays over here. Miko and I are taking strays. What's that about?
Vecino scored he scored 7 goals for Lazio last season, and this season he has 1 goal and 3 assists. So he has played some games.
Yeah, he's definitely played some games. I've seen him. I've watched him for Lazio this season, but I just noted he wasn't in the lineup against Napoli last week, so maybe he's injured. Who knows?
Yeah, he has a thigh problem, according to Transfermarkt.
All right, let's do some predictions.
Does he have private health insurance? Not kidding.
Oh wow.
All right. Miko, go ahead.
So I was thinking before the episode, I'm gonna predict a draw and a mini crisis, but no, I can't do that. I can't fail.
We'll let Jay do that.
This one.
Yeah, that would be the least Miko thing ever.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go with a cagey 1-2 win. 1-2 Inter win. Goals by now Lautaro. He's back now. He's gonna go get 1 goal, and then Çalhanoğlu will get another from a penalty. Classic.
Miko entered the time machine and partying like it's 2023.
Oh yeah, with the Hakan penalties. I'll go next. I'm gonna predict a 0-2 win for us. We'll get back on the clean sheet, and I need a Lautaro brace. Like I said, it's time. It's time to wake up. Time to wake the fuck up. Start scoring some goals. Let's go.
Jay?
The crisis continues. I'm going to say we take the lead. I almost said through Lukaku for some reason. We take the lead through Lautaro. We hold on for a resolute 1-0 and all looks good. And then Tijani Noslin does what his namesake Tijani Reinders does and destroys us, coming off the bench to score 2 late goals to turn it around for Lazio. 2-1 to Lazio. Yes, I'm aware that's exactly what I predicted against Leverkusen.
We have to win this match. No excuses now after the lineup decisions Inzaghi made against Leverkusen. So give me a 2-0 win. There's no chance Lautaro scores a goal. You both are foolish for thinking otherwise. It's going to be Thuram and it's going to be DeMarco. Let's take a Jay's hot betting tip.
So what went? You had the three predictions. How they went in the Champions League round? I don't remember.
I predicted Dinamo Zagreb to beat Celtic 5-1, that game finished 0-0, so I was pretty close.
Okay.
I said Real Madrid would beat Atalanta 3-0. They won 3-2. So again,
Pretty
in
close.
my opinion. That's like a 75% of the way there. What else did I predict? I bet on Man City Juventus 0-0, and I was right for about an hour.
You were right about City not scoring a goal.
Yeah. I was right, and that was a shit game.
Good enough.
Again, look, as far as I'm concerned, that was like 60% correct, right? Oh yeah, it's Milan's 125th anniversary against Genoa. Unfortunately, I don't think Genoa will be able to spoil the party. I'm going for a very, very easy 3-0 victory for Milan. However, it'll be boring to predict such a safe and obvious result. So I'm going for Bologna and Fiorentina. I think Bologna finally turn the tide and get a bit of luck, and they unexpectedly halt Fiorentina's good run of form with a 2-1 victory. And that's a serious prediction. I guess all my predictions are serious, so
Bologna have been surprisingly good this year. I know everyone's freaking out about their Champions League form, but they've actually been playing well in the league, so I'll support it. All right. Well, we'll wrap up there. We'll be back after the Lazio match to give you guys a recap and a look ahead to what's to come. So we'll catch you all then. Miko, take us away.
Oh, no Forza Inter this time. We don't deserve it.
Miko, you know what to do.
All right.
It's when we need it the most.
Forza Lautaro.
Forza Inzaghi, you mean? Everything is Forza Inzaghi.
Free my boy.
Yes. Justice for Luigi.
Shout out Luigi. Isn't Miko going to say Forza Inter?
Yeah, I thought he was.
No.
He's too offended by our comments about the U.S. healthcare system.
We got
waiting for him.
All right, I have to go to work. Let's go.